Food Trucker School is now in session. This is episode 28. Heyo, food truckers. This is Pat Flynn, your host. Happy that you're joining us today. We are here to help you take your food truck to the next level. If you're just starting out, or maybe you've been doing this for a while, this is the show for you. Today on the show, we're happy to welcome Jim from Bacon SF. That's San Francisco. BaconSF.com. How can you go wrong? Bacon, twice in the name of the truck. Not only has he got that going for him, but a lot of other things too. He started with one truck, and now he has three, plus a permanent location with a cafe, and he's opening his new trailer soon. We're going to talk about all that, what he wished he did differently when he first started, how he's been able to grow and manage this empire that he's built, and much, much more. So here we go. This is Jim again from Bacon San Francisco. What's up, food truckers? I'm so excited to welcome Jim on the show with us from BaconSF.com. Jim, what's up? Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Hi, Pat. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Why don't you introduce yourself and what it is that you do to all the listeners out there?
Yeah, so I started a food truck called Bacon a little over 3 years ago. And, we do sandwiches. We do different types of fries with bacon. We do different burritos with bacon. The concept kind of speaks for itself. But over the years, we've toned down our menu a little bit to kind of get a little more focus. And, we service the Bay Area. The business is now, it started as a food truck, and now we have 3 food trucks, a little cafe, and we're about to launch our 4th trailer. So
congratulations on all the success. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm a little out of my mind right now.
We'll talk about that really quick. How are you able to do all of this? I mean, some people struggle with just one food truck, but now you have 3, a cafe and a trailer opening. How are you able to make all this happen?
Took some time, but I have a great team right now, and this past year, like 8 months ago, we were approached about growing the business and having someone come on board to be an investor, and then brought in some people who now sit on my board. Sounds all fancy and big time.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. But we raised some money. That's basically what it was. And there was an opportunity, early on, is like, do I want to keep this a one truck operation and mom and pop and make a little money and, and really keep the hours minimal. And that was the plan. I started it. I've been a restaurant guy for a long time. And I started it because my wife and I started a family, and I didn't want those crazy restaurant hours. So what happened was I didn't realize, I thought it'd be popular, but it just kind of blew up. And it was, and it also did blow up too. I had a truck that blew up.
Wow. Literally blew up.
Yeah, it wasn't a grease fire, I promise. Blew up, and it just got bigger. And then, we got to this point where we got some national attention and different TV shows and fun, really cool recognition. And, it was like, do we want to try to go big? And I don't know what big means, but I know it's bigger than just one food truck. And, so here we are 3 years later with three trucks, like I said. And, I have a great infrastructure now, and it's something I didn't have for the first few years. So.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm on your website now. Again, everybody go check it out, BaconSF.com. If you're ever in the San Francisco area, come and find them. They have a great looking truck. It's black and it just says bacon on it. I mean, you got a lot of things working in your favor. First of all, it's just bacon. How can you go wrong with bacon, right? And you say it twice on your truck. So that's like 2 times the power.
I'm not the smartest guy. So
I love it. I love it. And it's obviously working. But if you could go back into time and tell yourself one piece of advice that you wish you knew when you first started, what would that be, do you think?
One piece of advice, I think keep it simple, keep it small. I think there was times where, the advantage of the concept bacon, lends itself to breakfast, lunch, dinner. Everybody will tell you their favorite bacon sandwich or entree, snack, whatever it is. So knowing your filter, and then not trying to be everything to everybody, and really do what you like. And, and that's what the menu is right now. I'd say I got it down to like the 5 or 6 sandwiches that are my favorite. And and that's important because I love making those sandwiches and training my crew now to make those sandwiches. And I know what it's always supposed to taste like. And I used to try to do lots of different fancy things and be this. I'm not a trained chef. I used to run restaurants, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I had to be the guy who knew everything and how to break down a pig and do all that stuff. And I'm like, well, no, it's not. I'm not the whole pig or the whole beast I'm the bacon truck. And if I can just continue to make great sandwiches and stuff with that ingredient, I think we're on the right track. So I think I got sidetracked at times, but really kind of making sure it stayed focused and simpler is better. And paring down the menu, that's something that I always tell my crew is like, if I put too many things on, just tell me. We'll tone it down because I like to go crazy.
That's a theme we keep hearing on the show. And actually, I just interviewed somebody who owns a food cart where there's a very limited amount of space. And he loved that because it forced him to only pick 1 or 2 items to serve. And I think this is something that's really important that maybe we could talk about a little bit more. How many items did you have when you first started? And then what is that process like of cutting it down? I mean, I can imagine that being one of the hardest things to do because they're on the menu for a reason. How do you select those few?
So there's a couple on there that, like I said, that I thought were the most popular. I realized over time. Mm-hmm. There's a couple that were my favorites, or maybe my wife's or friends' favorites, but they were great. We just didn't sell a ton of them. So it's like, what items, first of all, am I going to make the most margin? Mm-hmm. What's going to take not a crazy amount of prep time, and what's going to not take up a ton of space. So there's all those criteria, like you mentioned with, a food cart and a food truck. You're limited in space, and you really got to focus on your prepping before your shift, and make it as easy to execute for yourself as possible. I mean, our food has a lot of components. That's something I'm still trying to work on. And for example, if it's like a caper mayonnaise and then an arugula has, red wine vinegar, tossed in it to cut through the belly bacon sandwich, that's all great. But then a chef friend's like, well, why don't we incorporate that red wine vinegar into the caper mayonnaise? And then you saved yourself a step. Mm-hmm. So those little tricks are sometimes hard for me to get to. But I've tapped a lot of friends that are chefs and, hired some good people that have helped us narrow some of those things down.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that. And I think that's another theme that we keep hearing from successful food truck owners who have had a truck for a number of years is they know they can't do this alone. You got to go and get help when you need it, and, tap into other people's powers too. I think that's really important. What is your most popular item?
It's pretty neck and neck these days. The burger, which is, every burger we serve is a double burger, and it's a bacon burger, obviously. Mm-hmm. We put caramelized onions on there with, we call it our secret sauce, but it's not too secret. And then the bun is pretty crucial too. A local bakery here in San Francisco called Pinky's makes these brioche, kind of Kaiser brioche buns for us. And cheddar cheese. So it's really, it's a juicy burger. They're all doubles, so I love the texture of that. And then the bacon fried chicken sandwich. Those two are always the number 1 and 2 sellers. The fried chicken sandwich is awesome. I think I'm most proud of that because that was something I came up with all on my own in terms of we take panko and a little flour, and then I take kind of bacon that's been cooked towards the well done side and put it in a spice grinder, like a coffee grinder, and get it to like a real, we call it bacon dust around the kitchen, and we incorporate that in the panko breading mixture.
Genius.
Yeah, so that, and then we put bacon mayo, and then there's a couple strips of bacon on it, and then you're off to the races.
How could you go wrong with that? That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, go to baconbaconsf.com, everybody. There is a gallery there with all this amazing food that Jim is talking about. It's fantastic. Now, you also have a link here for the cafe, and that's something I want to talk about. So you started with a food truck, and now you have a cafe. This is a permanent location where you're selling this food to. What was that transition like for you? First of all, what was the motivation to putting in a cafe, and what was that transition like, adding that into your arsenal?
Question. It kind of happened. I'll sound very San Francisco. It happened very organically.
Oh, yes. But, I went to Berkeley. I'm used to it. So.
All right. So you're with me. Hopefully your audience is. But no. So when you have a food truck, For those of you that don't know, you need to have a prep kitchen where you store your food. You know, you empty your truck out every night. You prep all that stuff. So to me, the model was always like, well, it would be great to have that prep kitchen also be a place that I could sell out of. So this cafe kind of was a friend of mine, and it became available. And I was like, all right, well, I'll prep there. And then while we're open, prepping in the morning before we go do our lunch shift, and keep in mind, it's like 4 or 5 of us as the whole team at this point. Why don't we sell bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches? There's no like bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches in San Francisco, like none that I knew of. And sell some good coffee. And so then the cafe just kind of started getting some momentum and like, well, why are you guys closed every day at 10 o'clock? And I was like, oh, we got to go do lunch. And then I like, all right, well, people are into this. And like I said, I wasn't sure that I could continue to build, a cafe that people would come to all the time. And sure enough, right now we do breakfast and lunch. We'll probably expand to dinner. The key, I think, too, is anytime you have, good breakfast, you need good coffee and then some other alternatives besides the bacon stuff, for the everyday passerbys that grab a coffee.
Right. No, I think that's a genius idea. And I really love the idea of having that be your prep kitchen for your food trucks.
Well, I will say this. Things happened in San Francisco, and permitting and a couple of cranky neighbors weren't so keen on the idea. So today, the cafe, unfortunately, doesn't serve that purpose. And so it's kind of a bummer, but also it was really tiny. It is a really tiny kitchen and prep kitchen and cafe. And it only has, it's like 800 square feet. And now with the 3-4 trucks, it just doesn't have the space. So again, we had to adapt and change. And so it is just it's just a cafe that relies on its own business, to make it work. So, but no, that is the model. Like best case scenario, I think, to all food truck people, I think it's a great way for you to go because like if you're paying rent, why not try to make some money where you're paying rent?
Yeah, that's a sweet idea. And how has if you don't mind sharing, the results or the sales at the cafe versus food truck? Like, can you talk about maybe, I don't know, what is it performing for you?
Yeah, you know what? I'll say this. The weekends, it's really busy. The week, it's pretty good. And, I think, like I said, we do a lot of coffee business and we make other homemade pastries are really good and some are bacon and some aren't. I think, like I said, like the best case scenario would be if we could prep for it as well, too. But, it does well that, we're sticking around and we signed a pretty good lease and, we're doing well. It's just the truck is kind of a phenomenon. If, when you hit a truck, you go, there's a line and it's like this crazy, probably hour and a half. Like you're usually at a location for 3 hours for lunch, let's say. And it's insane. You'll do like, 120, 180, whatever it is, like unbelievable numbers. And, the math on that is pretty crazy, right? But then, the cafe, you'll do that over the whole course of a day. And so it's kind of hard to compare, hour by hour. But if you look at the whole performance, it works out.
That's awesome.
Did I answer that question?
No, you did. And I appreciate the honesty with everything you've mentioned so far. This is really, really cool. So if you are ever in the San Francisco area, make sure you head over to Bacon Bacon Cafe, which is at 205A Frederick Street. Is that right?
Yeah, and so what's cool, one of our other trucks is at a permanent location too in San Francisco, and that's also great because we're not putting a lot of wear and tear and driving it around, and it's this place really cool called Soma Street Food Park in San Francisco, and there's 4 or 5 of us that are permanent, and then it rotates 4 or 5 other trucks, and it's awesome because it has a big tented seating area, tons of TVs, there's like an old school bus they decked out that you can sit in or rent out, so it's like another permanent truck location, kind of cart-like, kind of Portland-ish, which is cool. And then the trailer, which is great, will be down at Fisherman's Wharf, right off of the main Jefferson Street on Jones, right with a couple other permanent trailers. So that should be pretty nuts, and also a permanent spot to find Bacon Bacon.
Can you define trailer for us? I think a lot of people might not understand what that is exactly.
So similar kitchen to a food truck, but this one is on a hitch and you can't drive it. So like a cart, some people call it a cart. This is a trailer. This one, if I wanted to move it around, I'd have to get a pickup truck or something pretty hefty to tote it around. But the idea with buying the trailer was the location is permanent. This thing's not moving. We'll have propane dropped off and there's a water line there. So all of those little mechanical day-to-day parts of your business you kind of don't always know about going into it are right there for it.
Nice. Jim, one final question for you.
Yes.
And again, thank you for spending time on this today. That is, what do you love most about this career path that you've chosen?
Oh, so I've been a restaurant person for a long time. So I love the food business. I think initially I thought going to a food truck, I would kind of, for some reason, I wouldn't have that like guest experience. And in restaurants, when you're running like the front of the house, the higher you go up the restaurant ladder from like floor manager, AGM, whatever it is, your job slowly goes down. You're at a desk, right? Because you're doing more of that type of work. And what I love is I get to talk to every customer that comes to the truck. I get, take their order, hand them their food. It's really cool. And I love how it brings out a lot of people to an area. Like I love parking with other trucks. And, you might not want to have lunch with the guy in the cubicle across the hall or your neighbor, but you like them. You're just not going to take it to that next level. But you might be having lunch together and that guy's eating something there and you're finding another, food truck you want to eat at and you're sharing a picnic table. And I think we spend so much time looking down at our phone, our computer, that like sense of community gets lost. And I really love what that brings to the tables, the food trucks. So
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Jim. And again, everybody out there, visit baconbaconsf.com. If you're in San Francisco, find their truck. It's a black truck. You can't miss it if you see it. And Jim, are you guys on Twitter and Facebook, I assume, as well?
Yeah, so Bacon Bacon SF. That's our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. That's where you can find us, and go to our website. And if you're in San Francisco, please feel free to drop me a line through the website. And I'd love to see you guys.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks, Pat. You have a great day.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Jim from baconbaconsf.com. Go ahead and check him out. And that is the handle for Twitter and Facebook as well. Just amazing what they're doing and so inspiring. I hope you are inspired just like I am right now. And if you are, we would love it if you visited iTunes really quick and left us a review. That helps out the show so much. We love hearing from you, and it helps motivate us to keep continuing with these episodes every other week. And so please just really quick, head on over to iTunes, look up Food Truck or Food Trucker. We're on the top for all food truck podcasts, which is great. And that's thanks to you and your help. But again, just head on over there, leave us an honest rating and review, and we'll be there and read them. And we love you guys for it. Thank you all so much for the support. We are back next week with another episode with somebody who actually owns a food cart in Minnesota. So stay tuned for that episode. Thank you again so much for your support. And we'll see you at foodtrucker.com.